Hey dudes, and welcome back to The Bants. As always, I am your host, The Bants, and it's finally Monday once again, the beginning of the week, so it's time for our first What's Happening in Fashion this week, so let's just get right into it. And starting us off, we have our headlines for the day. And in our first headline of the day, Off-White just announced that they are filing a lawsuit against a multitude of online sellers selling fakes and equivalents to a lot of their products. And this lawsuit seems very cut and dry. I mean, they're going after people using their branding, using their logos, no matter how basic or shit they happen to be. And honestly, it's just kind of a no-brainer. But now that all these fake sellers are going to be out of the market, I gotta ask, Virgil, are you sure this is what you want? I mean, I always thought you wanted people to be part of your collective, wearing your brand, especially now that they were able to, get it at prices that it deserved to be worth. And for all of you out there that were buying these fakes and you enjoy Off-White, I'm sorry. Guess you gotta go beg daddy for his credit card again to start flexing. It's a shame, really. Alright, and in our second headline of the day, to nobody's surprise whatsoever, we now know where Chris Van Ash is heading, and that is, of course, Berluti. Now that the designer apocalypse is over and the dust is now settled, I think it really comes as a shock to nobody to see KVA back in a position so soon. I mean, I really doubted that LVMH would just let him sit for too long. And as much as I liked Hader in this position, I do think that KVL works here probably even a little bit better. I think he will tone it down a little bit, make it a little bit more clean, a little bit more refined, and I think that's exactly what Berluti needs. All I really gotta say at this point now is obviously good luck to KVA, and let's hope that Hader finds a home soon, because I really like to see him somewhere else. Alright, and let's move on to our art stories for the day. And first up, Eva Redamontis showed off some of her newest works, both in pen and paper and digital formats, and honestly, I think these are amazing. If you find yourself a fan of really cluttered but really detailed designs, definitely give these a look. You'll be looking at them for hours at a time. Then legendary toy god Michael Lau just opened up his newest art exhibit in Hong Kong, of course. And for those of you who might be a fan of his toy work, you might be a little surprised on this exhibit because this is definitely more of an art exhibit. Yes, there are sculptures, but there's a lot of other different mediums in here as well too, mostly in the art form though, in the paint aspect. So if you still enjoy his style, but more in 2D formats, definitely give this a look. And lastly, Joan Cornella just showed off his new exhibit now in South Korea, and honestly, if you're familiar with his work, you'll know how just kind of funny and dark it all happens to be. But if you are new to his work and you do find yourself a fan of dark humor, you definitely need to check this out. Alright, and let's move on to our fashion now, and starting us off, Union just showed off their newest lookbook for their in-house line, and finally, it's getting better. It only took them 3 seasons, but they finally seem to be starting to head onto the right track. I really enjoy some of the graphics they finally started to use here, as well as a lot of the patterns they decided to choose as well. Plus the inclusion of a lot more deeper and bolder colors really makes a lot more fucking sense for Union clothing than this pastel garbage they've been putting out for the last couple seasons. And of course, I love the odes to Charles Mingus, and what I can only assume is a play on the term holy rollers that he often used to use. So all I really gotta say about this is good job, Union. I hope you guys can really keep this up, because God knows summer's coming along and you're gonna go back to the fucking pastel stuff. But aside from that point, for those of you out there who found yourself enjoying some of this collection like I did, be on the lookout for it as it drops next week. Then Yohji Yamamoto showed off his newest anime capsule collection, this time with Ghost in a Shell, and honestly, I think it's pretty fantastic. Now, Yohji is obviously no stranger to the anime capsule collection, his most renowned being probably Neon Genesis Evangelion, plus he's done Cyborg 009, and I think he's done a couple others as well. And here we finally see him tackle legendary series Ghost in a Shell, and honestly, I think he does a pretty decent job with it. His amazing silhouettes mixed with these really nice, really intricate, and really detailed graphics are always just a sight for sore eyes, and I think he went really in depth with the details on some of the graphics on these ones. The only unfortunate thing here really is that just because of the lookbook format, I don't really get to see them as much as I'd like to, and I'd really like to see them in a couple fits before I can make my decision on it. Because will this end up being better than the Evangelion collaboration? At this point, only time will tell. Then we find Kith back once again with another lookbook, this time a racing themed collection, and honestly, I'm not really impressed. Now, first off, let me start by saying I don't think these pieces are necessarily bad per se. I just don't think they make a lot of sense in the whole brand aesthetic that Kith has been going for up until now. Like, I just don't get what brands are trying to do recently. Like, we have this collection, we have the Hundreds Monster Truck collection, although that by no means is anywhere nearly as good as this collection is. And I just don't think it makes a lot of sense in the whole overall scheme of streetwear aesthetic. I mean, yes, some could argue that it does have some ties to streetwear, as in there are people out there that are streetwear enthusiasts and also rice rocket enthusiasts, or drifting enthusiasts, or underground/illegal drag racing enthusiasts. But I'm not getting any vibes from any of that in this collection here, nor did I with the Hundreds collection. Definitely not with the Hundreds collection. So maybe if you're just really into the racing aesthetic, maybe this is worth a look, but if you're more of just a streetwear fan like I myself am, this will probably be a pass for you. Then rainwear brand Rains showed off their Spring/Summer 2018 lookbook, and holy fuck, I am so conflicted on this. On one hand, I love almost everything about this collection. I love the coloring, I love the striping, I love the mix-matched patterns, and if you know anything about Rains, their quality and their price is on point as well. And on the other hand, the only thing I really don't like about this collection is how much it just fucking looks like something somebody would wear in a concentration camp. I mean, almost to the fucking T. It's got the stripes, it's got the same fucking colors. I looked at it and I was just like, that looks familiar. Why does that look familiar? Oh yeah, people were murdered in it. What the fuck, Rains? Just so fuck. I know I shouldn't be laughing. It's just the whole happenstance is just funny. That's what's funny, okay? So all you out there getting offended, calm the fuck down. So if you are on the lookout for a new raincoat or a rain jacket, definitely check out this collection. I personally think it's really cool. Just be warned that you might unintentionally offend somebody in public. Then Abasi Rosborough showed off their newest collection, and I personally like everything about it. For as young as the duo of Abasi Rosborough is in the industry, they've still been consistently killing it as they are doing here. The colors and the patterns they chose here are nice and eye-catching, and all the techwear vibes I get from the detailing, the aesthetic, and the silhouettes are on point as well. And as if that alone wasn't enough, they are using their lookbook and the clothing itself as a means of showing off environmental sustainability in fashion. Now let me explain. The lookbook itself is supposed to kind of give off this vibe of a dystopian future in a sense of what could happen if we don't try and change our environmental impact in fashion. And as far as the clothing goes, on the pieces themselves, up to 80% of all the fabrics used in these pieces are either recycled fabric or natural non-treated fabrics, mainly hemp, which is a great recyclable textile all of its own. So very much respect to Abasi Rosborough here. It's not easy to make nice clothing in and of itself, and to add some sustainability, some lessening of environmental impact to it, just bravo guys. keep it up. I mean, you guys have been doing fantastic so far, and this is just par for that course. And lastly, brand C2H4 just showed off their newest lookbook, and holy shit, is this phenomenal. Are all you motherfuckers ready to hop onto the Lunar Core bus? Cause guess what? It just fucking arrived. For a brand that has always been pretty well known for making some pretty solid techwear, it looks like they took all of that knowledge, all of that experience, and pushed it straight into the niche that is the Lunar Core. And damn, did they fucking succeed. The coloring is great, the detailing is on point and actually makes sense from an aesthetic point of view as well as a functionality point of view. The graphics actually accentuate the pieces rather than detract from it, which is a problem in a lot of techwear graphics nowadays. And to top it all off, the accessories actually make sense from a cohesive standpoint for this collection. Plus, I gotta say, those Vans collaborations, aside from being fucking fire, are gonna be definitely grails in the Lunacore community very, very soon. So to C2H4, job absolutely fucking well done. And for those of you looking for some new Lunacore, look no further, your brand is here. Alright, and lastly, let's move on to our articles for the day. And first up, Grail put out a very nice beginner's guide / introduction to parfums and colognes, and they kind of go into some terminology you need to know as well as some of the more popular kind of introductory brands out there. So if you're new to that field and wanted to get into it, definitely give this a read. Then Grail sat down for an interview with everybody's favorite avant-garde enthusiast, Alex Kasavin. So if you want to learn a little bit more about him or what he's been up to or what he's doing, definitely give this a look. Then SCMP sat down for an interview / behind the scene looks with Andrew Rosen of Theory. So if you've always seen Theory in a Nordstrom's or some other large store and didn't know shit about it and maybe wanted to learn some, here you go. And lastly, Hypebeast sat down with one half of the powerhouse behind DSM and CDG in the form of Adrian Joffe, just to see what he's been up to, what he's planning to do in the future, and so on. So if you want to read a little bit more about Adrian Joffe, which I really think you should because he's not one for a lot of interviews, definitely check this out. Alright dudes, and with that we come to the end of our first whip for the week. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and as always, if you want to read any of the articles I talked about today or look at some more photos from lookbooks I didn't link, I've linked everything I talked about today in the description down below. And if you are new to the channel and you did enjoy this video, we do this 3 days a week, plus sometimes an odd video here and there. So if you are a fan, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to talk fashion in general, feel free to hit me up in the comments down below. I am always willing to talk fashion. And lastly, thank you as always for watching these videos and supporting my content. It really does mean a lot. And as always, I hope you guys have a good couple of days, and until next time.